Welcome to Truth Recon. I'm Agent D. Baker, former narcotics detective, SWAT team member, and U.S. Navy combat veteran. With years of real world experience in high stakes environments, I've seen firsthand the dangers that lurk both in our communities and now increasingly online. Before this show begins, understand this. What you are about to hear may be disturbing to some audiences. This podcast contains explicit language, dark themes, and real conversations that are not suitable for children and may be triggering for some individuals. If you choose to continue, do so knowing this content is intended for mature audiences only. Discretion is advised. What's up, everybody? Or shall I say YouTube? Hopefully we'll have a decent crowd. A little bit of a late start, but we're here. Hopefully everybody can hear me and see me good. It'll probably also take quite a few people a couple more weeks to get used to just being on here on Wednesday night. So I put out a little quick reminder today, but I'm sure everybody didn't see it. Plus, I only put it out on Facebook. I didn't put it out on TikTok. So Melody, Gloria, Tammy, Carla, Carolyn from North Carolina, Gina, Lawingo, Nancy, Debbie. It's been a crazy week. There's been so much going on between the Barry Moore stuff, which is for those in Alabama, we have a big Senate runoff, U.S. Senate runoff race coming up. Was it this Tuesday? I think is the runoff election, and it's gotten crazy because if you haven't seen my stuff, Barry Moore, who is one of our sitting U.S. congressmen, has literally been lying about his military service for over a decade since he's been in office, and it's crazy. That's crazy to me. And well, I guess what's even crazier is he still won't admit it. His camp is doubling down on that he hasn't been lying, and it's crazy. You just have to watch some of the videos I put out about it. It's nuts, and it's one of those things that's starting to drive me crazy because of the gaslighting his campaign is doing. I mean, it's just wow. And I've heard I'm extremely disappointed because I've heard so many people say good things about him. Like I've heard people that claim to know him personally and say, "Oh, he's a really good guy," and all this stuff. I had no reason not to believe that until now. And now I see that's just simply not the case. Here's the thing with this. Someone that will lie about something like that, number one, it's a big deal. But it also tells me that means they are not impressed. They are not proud. That's the word I'm looking for. They are not proud of the things they've actually done. And that's concerning that apparently Barry Moore's not done enough things in his life that he is proud of, so he has to embellish and take on this military thing like it was really something to him, when in reality, he spent 2.5 years. That's it, on a 6-year contract. 2.5 years. He went to basic training, and that's it. He never even went to what they call in the Army AIT school. He never went to that. It's nuts. So I don't know. But anyway, probably enough about that. Is my camera like blurry? Yeah, hold on. Y'all give me 1 second. Let me fix this. All right. I think that's better. What do you mean? But what do you mean, lava lamp? It's on. So okay, let me get focused here. What else do we have? We have we talked about the Josh Stapleton thing Monday night, and I put a little podcast out about it today. And red words. Well, I don't need the red words tonight because I'm only on one. We're only on one platform. But yeah, we already talked about the Josh Stapleton things. Not much else to say about that. Like I said, I did put a podcast out today about that. If y'all haven't seen that, once the live's over, you can catch that here on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcast. I'm still working on the podcast on Joseph Reagan, which is the Blount County now former police chief. And when did that happen? Did that happen? That happened Monday, didn't it? I don't know, my head is everywhere right now except where it needs to be, apparently. Can't focus. Reservist and regular military have different discharge papers, right? My husband was a Navy veteran. Well, it depends. If now, yes. Now, since 2022, everyone gets a DD 214. But prior to that, if you were a reservist or National Guardsman, you didn't receive. The only time you would receive an actual DD 214 is if you were ever on active duty, not counting. Basic training does not count as active duty. I don't know where people get that mixed up, but that is not true. I've seen tons of people say that. That's not true. So in his case, since he went to basic training and that was literally it. It's the only place he ever went. That's the only place he ever left home as far as the military. And that's why it does piss me off that he's been out for over a decade flaunting, I'm a veteran. Dude, the only time you even left your house was for basic training. That's it. And so the fact that he has literally been campaigning off of being a veteran and acting like he knows and understands what veterans go through is such bullshit. And he's still saying that, and his campaign is still saying that. It's ridiculous. And he literally is, per the federal definition, he is not a veteran, nor should he be. Again, the fact that he even feels that he has felt confident enough in his life to call himself a veteran when that's all he did tells me everything I need to know about the guy. So, and also, don't forget, he was one of the big main ones that was bragging about going against calling Tim Walz out, which Tim Walz needed called out because he lied too. But at least Tim Walz did spend over 20 years in the military. And this guy had the nerve to try to call him out for anything. It's ridiculous. But I will never, ever have respect for Barry Moore again, ever. And the fact that he and his campaign are trying to spin this around into they're trying to spin this into that Jared Hudson and his people are the ones being negative and talking down about National Guardsmen, reservists, and the military, being disrespectful to them. And it's literally the opposite. It's just it's ridiculous. And they are doubling down. They know they're in trouble. And they are grasping at straws right now. I don't care what they say. I've been part of politics for a long time, and that, trust me, they know that they have screwed up bad. And again, now they're throwing everything out there, hoping something sticks to help them a little bit. But I think it's just making them look worse. If that man would have, when this first came out, if he would have if he would have made a video and said, look, I have referred to myself as a veteran numerous times. I was in the military. I served 2.5 years in the National Guard. But now that I'm hearing people talk about it and I'm thinking about it, it probably wasn't good for me to be touting that I'm a veteran and acting like I knew what veterans go through and all that stuff, and I apologize. It would have been over. It would have been squashed. That's the thing. It would have been squashed. You have to understand, when you are cornered, when you're caught like that, you can only do one of two things. The best thing for you to do, I mean, if you were telling the truth, then the best thing for you to do immediately is to show that proof immediately and squash it. That way, again, it's over. It's done. Well, he couldn't do that, and he knew that. So again, if he would have did what I said for him to do, it would have been squashed and over. Nobody would be talking about it now. But instead, and whoever his campaign manager is, you're an idiot, dude. I don't know who it is, but you should be fired if they haven't fired you already. And no one should give you any money to run their campaign again because you screwed this up big time. because you should have known that. This is very simple, elementary stuff in politics. But whoever came up with the idea of, I know what we'll do. All the media that contacts us, we're just going to tell them, you better not post that or we're going to sue you. I mean, who would have seen that backfiring on you? Seriously. Like, that was a huge mistake. And then obviously it immediately backfired on them. And again, he had another chance then to just, there's only one way to get people to stop talking about this, and that's what you want. No matter how bad it is, the number one thing you want in that situation is for people to stop talking about it. And the other way, like I said, to get people to stop talking about it is just to come clean immediately. People are going to stop talking about it. But nope, they've doubled down. And now he's made 2 more videos. Literally, I'm a veteran. And every time he says that now, it pisses me off so bad because no, you are not a freaking veteran anymore. You know nothing about how it is to be a veteran. Anyway. Yeah, active duty for 90 days or more is required to receive a DD 214. I think, though, now I may be wrong, Doc, but I think after 20, I read something changed in 2022, and I think maybe they get a DD 214 when they get out of the service, no matter what. But I that's what I understood. But I know when I was in, yes, you are exactly right. That's what it took. When I went to basic training, I did not get a DD 214, and I was in the Navy Reserve because I was still in college then. But I did not get a DD 214 just for going to boot camp, to basic training. I didn't get a DD 214 until I did my actual first deployment, which was like, I may have gotten one for A school because my A school was very long, but I can't remember. Anyway, but if you get deployed, especially to a war zone, you're going to get a DD 214. But I have no problem with. There's a lot of veterans that didn't actually serve in combat. I have no problem. That is not what I'm talking about. Those people deserve to be called a veteran, and they can call themselves veterans. And that's not, there are quite a few people that served in the military but didn't actually ever get deployed like that. But they still did their job, and they did it well, and they finished up their contract, and they served honorably. So that's not what I'm talking about. This has nothing, and again, that's something else that they're trying to spin this into, that we're saying, oh, if you didn't go to war, you're not a veteran. No, nobody's saying that. Nobody is saying that. Except for them. Actually, you're exactly right, and that's what pisses me off so bad. Imagine being so desperate for attention, you borrow someone else's sacrifice. And now, I think that's why I get so mad now when he says it, because now my mind, every time he says it now, my mind immediately goes to thinking about people that I was very close with that didn't make it back home. And the times I talked to their families still today, and dude, and trust me, I'm not the only one. I guarantee you everybody that has ever served like that feels the same way when they hear him say that now. He can get some Air Force twat to make a video about him and say he's a real veteran. It's ridiculous. All right. What else? Let me see. But I am going to get the I am going to get the Joseph Reagan podcast out very soon, hopefully tomorrow, because we still got to get that out, because the problem with that, and if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, Joseph Reagan is the one that I was talking about earlier, was the Blountsville police chief in Blountsville, Alabama, and he's a child predator, and we proved that, and we made enough noise very quickly, and it worked. It's the there's still problems with it. Number one being, it should not have taken that. And I think that Madam's Insight, who is the one that broke this story, who put it out there, and I don't know who that I don't know who they are. People keep asking me. I'm like, I truly don't know. I've talked to them, but I don't know their names. I'm not going to ask them their name. If they feel like telling me their name, they can. But I'm just glad that they did what they did, and I hope they realize how important it was and what it did. But anyway, I think she had also said that it should not have taken this, because that mayor and city council knew what he had done before they hired him, and they hired him anyway. And it should not have taken outrage from people on the internet for them to actually stand up and say, you know what, we need to let this child predator go. Maybe he doesn't need to be a police chief. He doesn't need to be in law enforcement, period. And we're taking those steps right now. We're notifying. We're sending evidence. I'm very confident that very, very soon he will not be a certified police officer in Alabama anymore. So we're working on that. But again, we got to go after that mayor and that city council there. We have to, because it's inexcusable. Are the ads running? Hold on. I thought I had them turned off. I'm sorry. Let me fix that then. If I can remember. Okay, here we go. I'm sorry. I thought so. I turned them off last week. I didn't realize that I'd turn them off every time. I'm glad you said something. Okay, they are off. So, team, and I should have told you. Well, like I said, I didn't realize I'd turn them off every time. But team, next time if I forget, and y'all see one, y'all let me know. It should have never taken that. Really, Etowah County should have reported to a post. No, you're exactly right. This is the thing that I'm working on with a lot of law enforcement officers throughout this state. There's there's a thing called radius, and some people call it radius. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's one of those. But it is the system per se. If you get in trouble at an agency, get fired, quit. I mean, anything, any kind of disciplinary action, your agency can put what happened in Radius, and that's like a permanent record that any other agency that you ever try to get hired on to or go to, the next agency, they can run you through that program and see all your prior disciplinary issues or whatever. Or if you definitely, obviously, if you got fired or if you were forced to resign, and they can see the actual reasons. And the system is very screwed up right now, because what we've ended up with in Alabama, and I've had a lot of conversations with these guys, we've ended up with a lot of police officers that are out of a job and can't get hired on anywhere else simply because the agency they were working at, somebody high up there, they pissed off and they just didn't like them, and not for good reason. And so they put something bad in their radius. And then you, as a police officer, you're not allowed to know what is in your radius, nor will they tell you. So these officers have no idea what is in there. They just know they keep on going, trying and applying for jobs at other agencies, and they're like, no, we can't hire you because of what's in there. And they're like, I didn't do anything. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. There's no way for them to, they have no way to complain. They have no way to speak their case on it. That's not right. And I think there's going to end up being, because there's quite a few attorneys working on this right now. I think there's going to end up being a lot of lawsuits. And I think there's going to be a lot of law enforcement leaders in this state that have done people wrong like that, and they're going to end up on the bad end of that. And that's what we're trying to put together. We're putting together a whole big case thing, because I'm not talking about 3 or 4. I'm talking about 30 or 40, at least 30 police officers that were great officers where they worked. And the thing that pisses me off the most, a lot of them, the reason that the leadership where they worked got pissed off is because they were trying to do the right thing, and the leadership, no, you're going to do it my way, which was not the right way. And they bucked on them, and so they put something bad in their file. And now nobody will hire them. But the fact that it can keep you from getting a job in law enforcement, and you're not even allowed to know what's in there, so you can't defend it whatsoever, it's not right. But then on the other hand, on the other side of that, here we have this instance where, and this Radius is a screwed up program right now. That whole process is screwed up because it's not working. Because we have the opposite side of that, to where someone like Joseph Reagan, if that would have been put into his radius, there's no way a law enforcement agency would have hired him. So it wasn't put in there. So what this system has come to now is, if you like somebody, you can ruin if you like somebody, no matter what they do, they can go wherever else and work no matter what. And if you don't like somebody, you can literally ruin their career. And that is a power that should not be in any law enforcement leader's hands. Because trust me, there are some freaking complete ignorant law enforcement leaders. Ask anybody that works in law enforcement. Ask anyone that works in law enforcement what their biggest complaint is. Anyone in this entire country. Not one of them will say it's the citizens. Not one of them will say I'm tired of dealing with criminals. Nope. Every single one of them will say my leadership at my agency was horrible and I couldn't take it anymore. That's why law enforcement leaders want to blame, like Nick Smith, the sheriff of Walker County, Alabama, sheriff's office. He wants to blame his retention problem on pay and this. That's not why people leave law enforcement. Pay is not why good police officers leave their agencies, ever. If a police officer, and this is a This is across the country. If a police officer is extremely happy where they work, they're not going to leave that agency for nothing. I don't care how much better the pay is. They're not. Because they know how hard it is to find that. And it's very hard. But law enforcement leaders blame their retention rates on everything except themselves, and literally it's themselves is the reason that we're having the problem. If there's an agency that's extremely low manned right now, it has nothing to do with anything other than they have some bad leaders and words got out and nobody wants to go work for them. I mean, I left an agency that, I mean, I loved working there. It was a great agency. But this is proof that it's not about the money with police officers, because no police officer gets in that business to become rich. It's not going to happen. If it does, you're going to end up in federal prison. But we had to move due to my wife's job. And so unfortunately I had to leave where I was, but I loved it. I mean, I loved it. And pay was great. I was making, I guess I can say now, since I'm not doing it, it's not considered bragging. But as a topped out sergeant, I was making like $85,000 a year, which is really good for law enforcement in Alabama. And I was actually making more than that with overtime, but just my base was around $85,000. We had to move to North Alabama. When I got there, I was making $42,000. My pay was cut in half. But then I ended up at an agency up there that if we end up moving back where we came from because of my son. But if it wasn't for that, I would still be in law enforcement. I about bet, because I love the agency I was at so much. It was awesome. And my pay was half. But we didn't, I mean, I'm proof that we didn't move back here because of my job, because that's when I got out of law enforcement. And so it's not about pay. It's about the leaders. It's about leadership, and we have a big problem in law enforcement leadership. I mean, it's the same problem we have in politics right now. You get in. The more I think about it, is literally almost the same. Because what happens to most politicians is the ones that were normal people, that weren't, millionaires and billionaires, but that worked normal jobs, lived a normal life, middle class. They know what it's like. Then they get to DC, and after 10 years being up there, they have completely forgotten what life is back in their home state, what it's like in their home state. And at that point, they can no longer represent you because they don't know what you're going through. They have forgotten. It's been too long. That's why I'm against them going to DC and staying forever. It doesn't make sense. Same thing with law enforcement leadership. You get whether it be a captain, a chief, sheriff, that hasn't been on patrol, that hasn't actually done law enforcement work for 15 years, and now they're the leader of the agency, and they have no idea what it's like. Because things have completely changed, number one, and they don't remember. They don't remember. And that's why it's horrible. So it's the exact same thing with both of them. That's why we have horrible politicians right now and horrible law enforcement leaders. Law enforcement officers in a lot of part of this state do have to, I was blessed. And it's easy for me to say when we got up there that it wasn't about the money because I didn't have to worry about it because I'm blessed. My wife does very well. But if I didn't have that, I couldn't have went up there and worked because you can't live off of it. You can't. And it's crazy. And they couldn't believe, people up there, law enforcement up there could not believe what I was making in Tuscaloosa. They're like, no way. I mean, I was making like $15,000 more a year here than my chief of police was up there. Think about that. It's crazy. And it's another rant that I get on sometimes. Such as in North Alabama, the Shoals area. Awesome area. Beautiful. Beautiful. All the people, and if you live up there, this is going to hurt your feelings, and it should. If you're one of those people, and if you live up in that area, and you're one of those people that say, I back the blue, no, you don't. No, you don't. Because if you did, your law enforcement would be making a lot more. You don't back the blue. If you live in Tuscaloosa, Shelby County, you can say, I back the blue. Because you can make a really good living in law enforcement in those places. Really good. Tuscaloosa is not a conservative, technically, it's not a conservative city. It's ran by Democrats. Our mayor has been our mayor is a Democrat. He's been in office for 15 years. A lot of Democrats around here. The representative for where I live, our state representative, Democrat. They pay their police officers. But we want to act like Republicans are the ones that back police officers. No, they're not. And I'm a lifelong Republican and always will be. Well, I ain't going to say I always will be. I may move to the middle. I'll never be a Democrat. I'll say that. You're kidding yourself if you think that. You can ride around the Shoals and you see those back the blue stickers on everybody's car. You see them everywhere. I don't see them hardly anywhere in Tuscaloosa. So in the Shoals area, they like to say they back the blue when they truly don't. And say in Tuscaloosa, they don't say they back their blue, but they really do. It's ridiculous. But if you live in those areas, get off your butts and go to your city council meetings and your county commission meetings and demand more pay for your law enforcement. Because I promise you, your judges are making $150, sometimes $200. Your prosecutor, the lead prosecutor, is making $150,000, $200,000. Your county clerk, your city clerk's probably making more than your police officers. It's absurd. It's absurd. No, you do not want to go to school to be a prosecutor because the only prosecutor that makes that money is the district attorney, the one that's elected. Trust me, the deputy district attorneys in places don't make anything. Because my wife was one for about 5 years, and I made way, way more money than her then. A lot more. It was crazy that they don't make anything. But most of your wealthy attorneys, they work. I mean, if the injury lawyers, they make a ton of money. A few business ones and things like that, but criminal law doesn't pay. Criminal law doesn't pay much at all. Pretty much most attorneys that work strictly criminal law, it's just because they love it, and that's the reason they do it. Wingo, did you change your name again? I don't even know how I got off on that subject, but let me see. I don't know. What do y'all want to discuss tonight? Anybody? How am I going to give my team a raise? Oh, that does remind me. Thankfully, we don't have to use it for the billboards right now, but I'm sure another situation will come up. But thankfully, the Blountsville police chief got out. But we did add the donate give link on the website. So anytime you feel the need, go on the website, click the link, and it'll. I think it's a Venmo link. It takes you to our Venmo. You can donate, give, whatever you would like. Be very helpful. We are going to have to start bringing in more funds for sure, because of the more things that we're having to do and that we're needing to do. And this is the part that sucks about being an independent journalist in this situation, is you're on your own. And so the donations of any kind definitely help and will help do what we are doing and keep us where we're, being able to continue to do this. Do I have it set for all comments or top comments? I guess all comments. Nancy Guthrie, no updates that I know. I mean, there may be, if there's some updates, I'm not familiar with any of them. Well, actually, do we know what's happening next for him. Now I talked about that we are Isha just threw me off there with her comment. We're getting things together to send to APOS, the Alabama Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission, that's the agency in charge of law enforcement certifications in Alabama, because we've got to get his law enforcement certification pulled. That's the only way we can be assured that he will not be in law enforcement anymore. Because here's the thing, and I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being dead serious. He just got let go from Blountsville. He should have been fired. Now, this is starting to piss me off with all these places giving these horrible child predators an option. Well, you can either resign or we're going to fire you. No, they don't have an option. They should be fired. We saw the same thing in, was it Cordova? With the police chief there that caught red-handed on video. And they let him resign. No, he should have been fired. So we've got to stop that mess. That's not the way it's supposed to work. So what I was going to say is, and I'm not trying to joke here. This is the truth. You can't tell me that now that he's been let go from there, if he went to somebody like Nick Smith in Walker County, he would hire him in a second. I have no doubt about that. So that's why it's so important for us to make sure their full certifications are pulled where that can't happen, because that's what is happening. The thing is, Radius, the program I was talking about, was started because of that and was started to stop that from happening. Well, we've figured out now, like I said, that's not the way it works. Where on the website can I send some information? So here, let me just bring it up quickly. Well, that's way too big. So here's the website. So if you go to agentdbaker.com, this is what's going to pop up. And if you go down, I got to go up to the actual, you can click the contact button up in the top. I keep forgetting y'all can't see my mouse. But you see the button that just turned green now, contact, you can click that, and it'll take you down to this form, and that's where you fill out the information. So you just put your name, email, a very short, simple subject. I think let me see. For some reason it don't show up on here. It gives you some options, and there's just like you submit a tip, speaking engagement, course inquiry, media request, or other. So like you could do submit a tip or other, and then you just type in whatever you're wanting to tell me in this message and hit send. That's all you got to do. So very simple. So you can either, as soon as you get on the page, you can go to the top to that contact, or you can go on the page and go all the way to the bottom, and there's the same form. So again, we've made that very simple, and that is the preferred way to contact me. Please, if you want to contact me at all, unless now if you're somebody that has my cell number and we've already been talking, I'm not talking about that. But someone that is trying to get into contact with me or want to pass information along, that's the way to do it. And then, of course, up here is you see the big blue donate. So you can if you click on that, it'll take you to our business Venmo. And that's the way you can give. And, or again, you can go, I think it's all the way at the bottom. It's got support the mission, and you can click there, but it's the same thing. And we've got some other things coming to the website too. And then to find any of my social media platforms, you can click listen now, and it'll bring you right here, and you click on any of these links, and these will take you directly to my pages on these platforms. It reminds me, we got to add the X. I keep forgetting that. And then once the courses go live, they will be right here. Right here is where we will have the child predator, what we're calling predator proof. That course will be here, and that'll be the first one we get up and going. And then I'm going to be putting some leadership courses up, and then some interview, interrogation, body language stuff there. That'll probably come last, but we're working on all of those right now. And if you are interested in me or know anyone that's interested in bringing me to your organization of any type to speak, this is where you would go, and you would click this book, Derek to Speak, and it'll take you to a form you fill out, and that'll come to us, and then we'll go from there. I think that's about it. Update on the peaceful protest. Yes, somebody else just texted me about that and told me to bring that up. So that's another thing that I'm going to get added to the website. I'll try to get it added tomorrow. We don't have the merch up yet, but it is very close. It's less than a week, and merch will be up. And again, you'll go to the website, and there'll be a link. Click the link, and it'll take you to the merch store. Very simple. But either tomorrow or Friday, I'm going to get it added on the website, like a volunteer participation or something like that. Some kind of form we're going to add on there that because we need a number. We need an approximate number of people that's going to be that thinks they can probably come and will come to the demonstration. And that's what we're calling it, as a public demonstration. So, And the dates, what's the date in July? The July date, and the reason we can't do the June one is because we have to turn all the forms in to the city within 30 days prior to the demonstration, and we missed that deadline, so we'll have to do the July one. Hold on one second, and I'll have the dates and everything on the website when we get it up. So right now we're going to shoot to do the July 9th through 11th, and we'll probably do, I think the 9th is on a, so the 9th is on a Thursday night. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. It's the 9th, 10th, and 11th. So what we will do is I'll post those 3 dates on, I'll post those 3 dates on the website, and I will, again, when we're trying to get approximate number of how many people is going to show up and be there, then I'll have you, when you go on there to put that you're planning on coming, have you put the date that you think you'll be able to come, and the date that most people will be able to come out of those 3 is the date we'll do. Does that make sense? So that's what we'll do with that. So block off the 9th, 10th, and 11th. And then, like I said, I'll try to get that link up tomorrow on the website. And you go on there, and it'll be like literally just your name and the date that'll be best for you. We'll also have a form for, and that's what I was talking about a while ago, like volunteers. So, and I'll have a list of different positions for the public demonstration, and anyone that wants to volunteer for those specific positions for the demonstration, you'll just fill out that information. And again, it's not going to, like, your name and phone number, name, email, and phone number, something like that. So it's not like it's going to require a bunch of information from you or anything like that. But that'll give us a really good idea of, so we can put on the application of how many people is going to be there. And then also we'll have the different positions that we'll need help with for the demonstration, have those filled as well. Did all that make sense? Does anyone have any questions about that? What's happening in Hamilton? We're going to be doing a peaceful protest, public demonstration for the ramp, which is the cult disguised as a ministry that we have been going over, talking about for a while now, where, again, horrible culture of child predators there. And Karen Wheaton is the leader. Her son-in-law was one of the main child predators, and things like that. I made a bunch of videos on it, a bunch of podcasts, and there's a lot more to come on that as well. But we're going to, they're having their summer camps where they have thousands of people sign up for this, even in the middle of everything that's going on, which is crazy. That's crazy to me. But we're going to go up there and just, again, have a public demonstration, completely peaceful, 100% peaceful, but just to show that we're not going away. We know what's going on. And most of the people that are going to be coming there are coming from out of town, and they need to understand what they're really getting into and what they're doing, because a lot of them don't. And we got to fix that, because any children that still go there they're in danger, 100%. They're in danger, and We can't just be, we're not going to sit by. I mean, just like with the Blountsville police chief, it's somewhat of what I would call an emergency, because every day that goes by that the ramp is still operating, there's a really good chance that another child is going to become a victim, and we can't have that. But I do think we'll have a really good turnout for the demonstration because I've had tons of people inquire about it, and so I'm looking forward to it. But our lawyer has been working on all the paperwork to send to the city and put all that together, and so that's the last thing they asked me, that we need like I said, just an approximate amount of a number of people that's going to probably be there. So, and again, like I said, I'll try to get that set up. Now, before I even get that set up, like if you're thinking about it tonight or in the morning or something, if you want to go on and go to the website, and on the contact section where it sends the email to me, you can go ahead and fill that out and say, hey, I'm coming to the demonstration, and the 10th will be the best day for me, or whatever. So you can go ahead and send me that stuff. I'll just make it a lot simpler when I put little forms up there. And then, like I said, I'll definitely get a list. We'll get that list together of the different volunteers that we'll need for that. But I think that'll make a pretty good impact. And that's sitting behind the microphone and doing what we do makes a big difference. And we've made a big change already in a lot of ways. And it's very powerful, because I can sit here and reach thousands of people every day. But it is also important at times for us to get out in the field and show that we are serious, as far as we're not just sitting behind a computer. We're not just sitting behind a camera. We will go out into the field, and like we did a really good peaceful. I didn't set this one up; somebody else did. But when we were protesting the Timothy Vest Benton case in Fayette County, and we had a really good peaceful protest at the Fayette County Courthouse, and I mean, it was a big turnout. There was a lot of people. I was blown away with how many people. But those are the kind of things that we need to do at times like this. We also had one or two. Did we have one or two in Colbert County for Dessler High School for the August Borden stuff? And again, huge turnout there too. The most important thing, anything that we set up, any kind of public demonstration like that, peaceful protest that we set up, when I say peaceful, I mean that. And so if anyone is planning on coming and causing any type of actual trouble, that's not going to work. And you will be removed immediately, because we have to keep everything fully legal and peaceful, or we're no better than them. That's just a fact. When we were protesting at the Colbert County Courthouse for the August Borden, there were, specifically one that decided they didn't want to be extremely peaceful. And again, I didn't set that up, so I wasn't in charge of that or anything, but that's when I left, because I'm not going to be part of that. And that person ended up in jail. Well, I think he's in prison now, because a couple weeks later, he made some really, really bad threats to the school. And so it's, again, I saw a problem there. I wasn't the only one that saw it, that saw the problem with that person, but we're not going to have people like that around us. Again, we're going to do things the right way, because we've been doing things the right way, and it's working. And please don't think I'm trying to take credit for any of these, because number one, none of it was just me. It was y'all, because y'all are the ones that spread the word. You're the ones that bring awareness to the stuff and share the videos. I just make the stuff. And also there's many more out there that do exactly what I do. And so when I say we, I'm talking about all of them and y'all. But so the Aaron Spencer thing, and again, there was numerous podcasters, content creators on that, but being loud and just being as loud as possible and showing we're not going to put up with this corruption. And that's what ultimately is the reason that Aaron Spencer is now completely free. So, but that was a huge win for us. We had Nick Smith, the sheriff of Walker County, Alabama. He finished third out of the 3 people running in the election this primary, and that's because of us. And again, not just me, not just y'all, but other creators too. But it was because of us that happened. That you talk about a huge thing that we did. And the amount of people, I mean, trust me, almost all of Walker County are feeling so much better now. A lot of people, Nick Smith had ruined a lot of people's lives. A lot. And was still doing it. But those are the things that can happen when we are loud and we bring awareness to this stuff. And then just recently, just in the last few days, with the Blountsville police chief, that was only, that came up less than a week ago. In less than 1 week, we made enough noise and was demanding enough to show him and his city council and mayor, we're not going away. Y'all better fix this now. And they did. Again, it shouldn't take us to make that change, but it does. But we are making a huge impact. And I was in law enforcement for a little over 17 years. And I feel like I'm making way bigger of an impact doing this than I did in the entire 17 years there. And that's saying something. Makes me feel really good. That's why I love this now. I mean, I love this. It's so fulfilling, I guess you could say. But we have a lot more to go. We have a lot more to do. Hopefully a lot of years that we'll be doing this. A lot of more people to help. A lot more child predators to bring awareness to, and hopefully get sent to prison. And obviously lately that's been a really big thing. And I don't see that getting any different. I don't really ever want to get to a place to where we're only covering one type of thing, but I do think the child predator stuff is going to become one of the main things that we do because it's so much needed and there's so many out there and there's not enough people calling awareness to it. There's not enough people bringing awareness to it. And again, on the training and the teaching side of that with, teaching parents and kids and things on how to make themselves hard targets instead of soft targets. There's not enough of that. So that's become a really big part of what we do. And I think that's going to continue and probably become even a bigger part of what we do. He had a problem. He wanted to be a big influencer. Oh, I know who you're talking about, Natalie. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. And I'm telling you, if you get into doing this for that reason, it's not going to work because this is not easy. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I love it, and I am the most blessed I've ever been in my life to be able to do this. I love it, but you have to love it to stay with it and to do this. Again, it's not easy. But if you wake up one day, and we see this all the time, if you wake up one day and you go, you know what, I want to become a podcaster. I want to be famous or whatever. It's never going to work. That's not the way this works. If you get into it for the wrong reason, you're not going to last. It's just not the way it works. You may last a little bit. You may make a lot of money for a little bit, but it's not going to last. I'm still waiting on the making a lot of money. I don't know if that's ever going to come, but we'll see. We'll see. We will see. A community is judged by what it tolerates. There should be zero tolerance for those who prey on children. Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And like I said, obviously we have a really big problem. We have a whole culture problem and change that we've got to make. And we got a long way to go. I mean, we'll probably bring up some more of the comments. That's one thing I wanted to do tonight. The amount of people that we need to come up with a good word for them. But the pedophile sympathizers, some of you witty people can come up with a good name for them. But those people, I mean, it's way too many. Way too many. It's very troubling. Very troubling. What's your take on the officer in Texas that unalived the young boy in his driveway? I'm not familiar with that one. Let me see if I can pull that up. Is this something new, Gloria? John Mendoza? Oh, so they fired the deputy? Let's pull this up for a second. Because, yeah, I'm not familiar with this. Let's see what it's about.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform made for anyone with an idea and a drive.
Tonight, the Brazoria County deputy who fatally shot a Texas State University student last week has been fired from the sheriff's office. Sheriff Bull Stallman identified the deputy publicly for the very first time today as a criminal investigation continues.
KPRC 2 News reporter Bryce Newberry has been on the story from the very beginning. He's live now with this new information. Bryce.
Keith Stefania, Brazoria County Deputy Kevin Tippett has been fired for what the Brazoria County Sheriff calls policy violations after the now former deputy's gun fired, killing 18-year-old John Mendoza Jr. Tonight, though, his family's attorney says this firing
was a weird way of
does not go
wording
far
it.
enough. Amid growing calls for accountability in the Brazoria County deputy shooting death of 18-year-old John Mendoza Jr., on Tuesday night, Deputy Kevin Tippett has been fired.
Due to the policy violations related to the handling and discharge of his firearm, the employment of the deputy involved in the shooting on June 1st, Kevin Tippett, has been terminated effective today.
Sheriff Bo Stallman making the announcement 8 days after surveillance video captured Tippett's gun going off at the end of a pursuit. Despite no commands being heard, and Tippett appears to call it an accidental discharge on the scanner.
What in the world?
The bullet killed Mendoza Jr. as he sat parked in his father's garage.
Regardless of any outcome of any investigation, your family's loss is permanent and your grief is real. I cannot begin to understand the pain your family is experiencing.
While the sheriff acknowledged Mendoza Jr.'s family, he hasn't said what prompted the traffic stop that led.
Side note, that sheriff or spokesman is extremely uncomfortable on camera. It was like I was getting secondhand embarrassment there.
To a 2-minute pursuit.
What do we want?
Justice! The family and community have demanded answers.
My son was murdered for a senseless and reckless act.
Oh, yeah.
Abuse of power.
The Texas Rangers are investigating for possible criminal charges against Tippett, but the sheriff cautions his firing shouldn't be interpreted as a conclusion of criminal liability.
There will be some who believe this decision goes too far, and others believe it does not go far enough. And I understand my role is not to satisfy every opinion.
And tonight, the family attorney Charles Adams wants body and dash camera video of this incident released. He's also calling for Tippett to be arrested and charged with murder. It could.
Oh, okay. So there's body cam has not been released yet. I mean, that'll tell us everything we need to know. But that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right. But yeah, I can't have an opinion on it yet until because again, I don't know what happened truly. But as soon as they release the body camera, hopefully they do, then I'll give my opinion on it, of course. But it doesn't sound good. That's for sure. An accidental discharge on a scene like that should never happen. It shouldn't. I've pulled my weapon literally thousands of times at work. Never, ever had an accidental discharge. It just, so I can't understand that. And I've trained people. It shouldn't happen. If it did happen, it's definitely a huge training issue. Inexperience, training, all the above. But there's, I'm not saying that, I'm not saying if they have an accidental discharge, they should be sent to prison. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's inexcusable as far as the agency there did the right thing. If he had an accidental discharge at work like that, especially at taking somebody's life, he needed to immediately be fired, and they did the right thing there. But that, just like that sheriff was saying, that doesn't mean he should be criminally charged. Again, I would have to see I'm not saying he shouldn't. I just will have to see the body camera, the camera footage to really see exactly what happened. That lady in the hat. What are you talking about, Isha? What about the Stephen Morrow case? I mean, I still don't know exactly what happened. From what I'm understanding, and from Amber with Secrets True Crime podcast post, sounds like it was a little punk that didn't understand how the real world works, and he took somebody's life unnecessarily. Other than that, I don't know any other details, but obviously they have him and he's locked up right now with the extremely high bond, which is good. I think it's like a $250,000 cash bond. So he's not getting out on that. Nobody can make that bond. But it sounds like he's an ignorant punk kid, and he doesn't deserve to be in society. You can't just take somebody's life like that. Like, and that's the problem with some people. They get a firearm and they have a fight, especially, and this is synonymous with some country boys. Now, I'm a country boy. I grew up in the middle of nowhere on a farm, so I can talk about them. But I see it. They're ignorant, and they think they're bad, and they want to pull a weapon out like that, trying to scare somebody or something, and you can't do that. But if it went the way that it sounds to me like it went, that how's he out? They lowered his bond? What the hell? When did that happen? They just had the bond hearing, didn't they? Where he set the bond at $250,000 cash? I'm looking to see. So we had a Nia's Law hearing yesterday morning. Let's see. During the hour hearing, ordeal began when Morrow accidentally bumped his Walmart shopping. Are you kidding me? Accidentally bumped his Walmart shopping cart into a teen friend of Crawford, and Crawford is the scum. When Morrow and his wife exited an aisle at the Summerton store. Crawford became angry and had words with Morrow before a store employee asked Crawford and his friends to leave. Morrow, this is so much worse than I realized anyway. Morrow, meanwhile, called police and walked outside to wait for them to arrive, which they did. Police spoke to all involved, and Crawford and his friends were trespassed from the store, but remained in the parking lot while Morrow and his wife went back inside to finish their shopping. So did the police trespass them and then let them stay there? Surely to God not. When Morrow and his wife left, Crawford stalked and followed. Morrow's wife called 911 again as her husband was driving away. Both vehicles eventually stopped in the parking lot of Los Reyes restaurant on Highway 78. At that point, testimony showed Morrow got out of his vehicle and approached Crawford's pickup truck. He broke the suspect's passenger window and was crawling into the truck when Crawford. This scum of the earth needs to be in prison the rest of his life. He's worthless. This Crawford guy is worthless to society. Let me tell you. Why in the hell this started over someone accidentally getting bumped with a Walmart cart. Unbelievable. Crawford's father testified the suspect is high-functioning autistic, which means he should be extremely intelligent, and was scared absolutely to death. When he wasn't scared, or he wouldn't have been following him. He's the one that followed them and stopped. No, that guy's spending the rest of his life in prison. Hopefully. No, he wasn't scared. He was all big and bad until the real world was about to hit him in the face, and then he decided to take this poor man's life. Oh, I'm telling you, this pisses me off so bad. And his father trying to make an excuse for him, he's worthless too. Yeah, I'll be putting something out about this. This is way worse than I realized. Freaking ignorant. But yeah, completely ignorant. Only word I can think of. And he's probably, one reason he's so ignorant is because of his dad. Because he sounds like a winner too. I'll tell you one thing, if you follow me and my family like that, I won't be the one that's going to my final home. You will be. I promise you that. And I could care less. I could not care less if you're highly functioning autistic. I don't care if you put my life, if you put my family in danger like that. But again, when I see high functioning autistic people that I know are extremely intelligent. They're not out trying to take people's. They're not. That doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. But that doesn't make sense just from autistic people I know. Yeah, Crawford, the scum's father, said said the son was autistic. Hold on one second. there's a lot of different levels of autism. Like high functioning means that they can function, very, very well, uh, typically. But again, I mean, everyone that I know that is like truly autistic, they're extremely intelligent. I mean, the last thing they're doing is out trying to follow somebody down and beat them up. But again, I mean, maybe that is something with some autistic people. I've never seen that. Now I have a little cousin. She is very autistic. Very autistic. But she literally doesn't hardly feel pain. And that's not a good thing. They've had it's been rough for them raising her and stuff, and she's doing great right now. But it's it takes a lot to parent someone like that. But yeah, she doesn't really feel, nothing hurts her. Like she doesn't really feel pain. And again, that's not a good thing. Very good point, William. If he's using his son's disability as an excuse, makes you think, why did he gift him a firearm? That's a very good point. He did not need a firearm. That's for sure. I mean, obviously. But that's what I mean. He's a punk coward, and he thought, I'm going to get this guy for bumping into you with a shopping cart. And then when he realized, maybe I shouldn't have tracked this guy down and stalked him and his family. Then he got scared and took the guy's life. That's horrible. Mm. I mean, you don't have to have a permit now in Alabama. But if you have a family member or friend for that matter, if someone you know, especially someone that you're close to, if you know they have issues and you know they have firearms, you need to tell somebody. Because if something happens, that's going to be on you some. If you knew, you're like, you know what, that's probably not the best idea, and you didn't tell anybody and you just let it go on, and then something bad happened, you're going to have trouble sleeping with yourself at night if you have a conscience. I mean, honestly. Yeah, this was a punk, coward, 18-year-old. Thought he was big and bad until the real world hit him, and then he realized, oh, maybe I'm not so big and bad. And now a family has lost their father, their husband, because of him being completely ignorant and a coward. That's what his dad needs to hear, too. We'll make sure that happens. I'm not seeing where he's out. Are y'all sure he's out? No, you're exactly right, Natalie. You're exactly right. No, Tammy, exactly. That's what William was saying. Like, if his father thought that was an issue, then he's responsible. He's a little responsible for sure. If he wants to use that as an excuse, then he shouldn't have had it. I'll bet you this. If the coward wouldn't have had a firearm, he wouldn't have stalked and chased him down. Yeah, he's not out that I'm seeing. Like I said, they set a bond, and I see some people that were complaining about that, but a $250,000 cash bond, that means you have to have $250,000 in cash. And there's not a lot of people that have that. So that's almost the same as a no bond in most situations. Yeah, he's exactly where he needs to be. And a coward like that won't fare too well in jail either. Just senseless.
I don't know about y'all, but the summer's getting.
Oh, what in the world? Sorry, I don't know what that was. It popped up there. This frustrates me too. Let me pull this up. Yeah, just because it's legal for you to have a firearm doesn't mean you need one. Doesn't mean you should have one. I mean, as I've said, y'all know my thoughts on this. If you're not very proficient with it, if you are not willing to train, like truly train, if you're not willing to put at least and this is the low end, at least 1,000 rounds a year through that, don't carry it. You're a liability, and you're going to end up hurting someone that you shouldn't. I mean, that's a fact. If you want to carry one, then you should be responsible about it. And a big part of that responsibility is to be very, very well trained in it. It's a very dangerous thing to carry around. Disability is no excuse for that. It's just not. Let me pull this comment or this post that Madam's Inside I was talking about earlier put up. Trying to get this big enough to where you can kind of see it if you need to. So this is the person that I said that broke the Joseph Reagan out of Blountsville, that put that information out there. Hello, all insiders. As crazy as it is for me to have to address this, and I wish I didn't, from some weirdo that craves attention, yesterday I was being accused of being some girl named Casey, and they were absolutely sure of it. Poor Casey. Today, it's some girl named Katie, who is absolutely wrong again. I never wanted this attention to be put on me or turned into a guessing game. I had information, and I shared it the best way I knew how when it fell on deaf ears. I never thought I would get the response that I did. I just wanted to go to sleep at night knowing I tried. And as I said, we've had a few conversations on Messenger, and I don't know who they are, but I told them, whoever they are, I hope they understand what they did was amazing and have probably saved countless future victims. And it's a really, again, I don't think everybody understands how big of a deal that is. And for them to have found the information, put it up, because the information did not come from, I've had very in-depth conversations with the victim's mother. They have no idea how this person got the messages. The mother was glad that it happened, but she has no idea how it happened. She even asked me, she was like, who is that? I said, I truly don't know. I mean, I wouldn't tell even if I did, unless they told me to tell, but I don't. But it's kind of neat. It's kind of, I guess, cool in a way to me that this just completely, nobody knows who this person is, but they came in like Superman and, again, saved Blountsville for sure. Anyway, let me get back to what I was reading. About me, I have never been friends with Shannon Reagan, and that is the wife of Joseph Reagan, the pedo, in real life or on Facebook. People were mad at me for bringing information to light that was purposely buried on a man that didn't deserve access to children. Said I was causing harm to people when that's exactly what the other profile is doing to actual innocent people. I'm not making this post because they found out. There is no factual proof to say I'm either of these two because it's not true. The amount of people that have talked to me because they feel safe with anonymity has been overwhelming. However, I never wanted it to turn into a witch hunt for a sicko to garner attention. I can continue with this page anonymously, or you amazing citizens can take the fight from here. I hope they continue, truly. But I don't know why. This is people that think they read can read people, that think they can see things that the average person can't see and don't understand. And, oh, I know exactly who that is. No, you don't. No, you don't. The thing is, to me, why does it matter who they are? They did an amazing thing. And if it wasn't for them, he would still be comfortably sitting in the police chief's chair. And again, there's no telling what all he's done since he's been there. I can tell you this. The amount of messages I've gotten in the last 24 hours from females that have almost exact, but very similar stories about Joseph Reagan is shocking. Shocking. I could not believe it. I mean, it was like, I went on Messenger this morning and I had an absurdly, there's a lot of times I get a ton of messages overnight and in one day and stuff on there, but this morning it was a lot. I mean, let me see. I'm not going to count all of them because it's too many, but see, this is all today. So since midnight last night, there's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 19, 20, let's see, 24, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50. So we're at 50 already, and we're just at 1 o'clock. Let me see if I can. Hold on. If y'all can. Oh, I'm going to mess up. I know I'm going to accidentally click on something and show somebody, but I don't know if y'all can see. Probably not, but I'm afraid I won't click on somebody and show somebody's name. So we're at 13:24, 1:24 p.m., and we're already at 50. See, 52, 54, 56, 58, 60, 62, 64, 66, 68, 70, 72, 74, 76. Jeez. All right, we're at 12:08 today, and that's over 70. And it's still just going. That's okay. Right there's the first one at 1:18 a.m. So around 100. Now again, it's normal for me to get 20 or 30 in a day sometimes 50. But I was like, what in the world is going on? And obviously, no, not all of them was from victims of him. I didn't mean that. I need to make that clear. 90% of them were in reference to him, like either a story or, hey, I know him, he's a part, like something. I would say at least 10, and that's just it's probably more, at least 10 from females saying, please don't say my name, but this happened to me. He did it. And all of them wasn't let me be clear. All of them, it wasn't like all of them was, hey, he touched me or he sent me pictures or something, but they were all like, he made me feel very uncomfortable in this situation, and then they'd tell the situation. And like I said, I was just glancing through a lot of them because I didn't have time to read all of them. But well over 10, I mean, probably now that I'm thinking about it and going through all those, probably at least 20 in 24 hours. That tells you a few things. The first thing it told me is, why didn't any of them message me day before yesterday? Why didn't any of them message me Sunday, Monday? Why did all of them suddenly feel comfortable to at least tell their story to somebody in the last 24 hours? Because he's no longer the police chief. That is full proof right there that over 20, at least, I mean, there's probably more. That's just the ones that messaged me. That over 20 people that were worried and scared and too scared to tell anybody their story while he was the police chief. But as soon as he wasn't, they felt comfortable enough and safe enough to tell their story. That's how important what we've done in the last 3 days. And again, when I say me, Madam's Insight's the main one, and there's some others, but all of y'all, that's how important it is. That's the difference that we can make. And on one hand, it's extremely sad, and it's very upsetting to know that. On the other hand, it makes me feel so freaking good to know that we played a big part of that. You never know. And I hear a lot of times, well, you're just so passionate. And this is why. Because I see the difference that we are making. I see the difference that we can make. And when something like this happens, I mean, it floored me. When that hit, because I was like, wow, this is crazy that this many is telling me about him. And it wasn't until a couple hours later. Actually, I was mowing my grass. I was out mowing my grass, and it clicked to me. Holy shit. Why did they all wait till today? And then it clicked. Wow, they were all that scared. Because he was still a police chief. I mean, it's crazy. It's truly crazy. No, it's not me, Natalie. It's y'all. That's what I'm saying. All I do is sit up here and talk. Y'all are the ones that watch my stuff, that share the videos, that tell people about them, that comment and stuff. Like, if it's just me, I wouldn't be able to do any of that. I wouldn't make any of this happen. It's all of y'all, and especially my team. And that's, I told them, I think yesterday I messaged them and was like something kind of similar as, look, we were really making a difference, and that's like, y'all are doing that. Because again, I can't do any of this by myself. I mean, it would literally be impossible. So and even though they're behind the scenes, again, I couldn't do this without them for sure. But it's working as a team, and that's all of us, all of y'all, all the ones on my team. Like, we're all working as a team, and that's what it takes to help these things. And I'm sure just the relief. I mean, think about that. Think of how many females that have had issues with him. Think about the immediate relief that they got as soon as they saw he was no longer the police chief. Obviously, it was a big deal to them. They felt so relieved that they was like, hey, I can tell somebody now. Like, think about that. That's how evil this POS scum is. He has that many people. He had that many people. And again, that's only the ones we know of. I'm sure there are more living in fear. But again, it's far from over. I want to see. There was a couple of comments that like this one here. Let me hold on. I got to send some of these to. Yeah, let me bring up some of these comments. Hey, thank you, William. I'm sure they appreciate that. So let's make Savannah Anderson famous. This was a comment made under one of the posts about Joseph Reagan. Just stop. Give the man an opportunity. His wife is aware. Why does everybody keep acting like that's what matters? Well, his wife knows, so that's all that matters. I don't understand. Can somebody explain that to me, please? Seriously. Can anybody explain to me why there's so many people acting like, well, as long as his wife knows, that's all I care about. That's all. I don't. What are we doing? I couldn't care less if his wife knows. I can't comprehend this. I can't comprehend this. I don't understand it. I don't think that's the right word, comprehend, but I can't understand it. What's up, Christy? Anyway, his wife is aware. Nothing came of the situation. Yeah, no shit, Savannah. That's the problem. Literally, that is the problem, Savannah. And then this is where it just gets so much worse. Blame the parents. Blame the parents? It blows my mind that there are some people out there that are this ignorant. Blame the parents. If you disrespected my daughter, I'd burn you. I'm sure you would, big talker, Savannah. That was not the case. People make mistakes. And who's to say she didn't claim 18? Okay, first off, it doesn't matter if she's 19, if she's a high school student and you're an adult, much less a police officer, much less this SRO for the school. I don't care how old they are. It does not make it any better at all. Not at all. Who's to say she didn't claim 18? Someone, please define SRO to me. Exactly. I'll stand for these Blountsville officers all day, every day. So apparently with Savannah, she don't care what kind of police officer you are. She don't care if you're corrupt. She don't care if you take somebody's life illegally. She don't care if you're a child predator. But if you're law enforcement, she's going to stand up for you no matter what. This is a minimization, and this is a deflection. This is trying to act like that the people that are against him are against police officers, which is ignorant. Someone please define SRO to me. Exactly. I'll stand for these Blountsville officers all day, every day. They care you're an individual. They care you're an individual, not population. Savannah obviously has a lot of issues, including riding. Because I don't have a clue what she's trying to say there. Anyway, they actually check in about your well-being. The man respected wishes, guilty or not. I didn't see this. I just saw the first part of this comment when I screenshotted it yesterday or last night. I didn't realize that it gets to where it's incomprehensible you can't comprehend what she's trying to say. The man respected wishes, guilty or not. Is there anybody can translate? And he was still such a brilliant prospect. He was promoted. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I don't care if this hurts some feelings. I'm just being honest, just being myself. So trust me, there was not a long line of people trying to get hired as the police chief of Blountsville, because I'm sure it doesn't pay well. And it's an extremely stressful job to not pay well. So, yeah, I highly doubt there was just a long line of people trying to be the police chief and he just so happened to be the best one. No. Hell, more than likely he was the only one. Maybe there was one other person putting in trying to be the chief. Trying to act like that he accomplished something, that he was brilliant because he was the chief there is ridiculous. Now, the next Blountsville police chief may be brilliant. But just because you're the police chief anywhere doesn't mean you're brilliant. And I don't care how brilliant you are if you're a child predator. Don't care. I don't care how much good you've done in the world. I don't care. If you're a child predator, you're worthless to society, and you don't deserve to be on this earth. Yeah, my 2-year-old could put a sentence better than this girl. I mean, seriously. Let's just. All right, let me see. I got another one. Okay, yeah. Now this one is wow. This one. And I'm going to explain that. So, Miss Rebecca Wilson, who legit need to make famous. And she made this comment, I think is on one of Munchies and Murder's post about Joseph Reagan. My husband doesn't do Facebook. So he asked me to post this statement. I have known Joseph Reagan since he was a 1.5-year-old. I have known his dad since he was in diapers, and his mother for several years. I watched Joe grow up, and as he grew, I babysat him when he was little. If I'm reading this right and taking this right, Rebecca is posting this for her husband, correct? I mean, is that what y'all understand too? Like this is what her husband is saying, and she's just posting it for him. Maybe I'm wrong, but if that is right, we're talking about this man said that he babysat Joe when he was little, which is a little odd. I think we all could agree. I've been fishing with him. Yeah. So this is the husband. I've been fishing with him, camping with him, to concerts with him, and on out-of-state trips with him. Y'all see where this is going? I photographed his baptizing. I was present at his wedding. I was present at his ordination. I've been in his home many times, and he and mine. I've seen him around adults and around many children. I have never met more respectful young man. So, how well do you gossipers know him? To quote a wise old state trooper I used to work for, if you don't know, you need to keep your mouth shut. Seems to me the ninth commandment takes quite a bit of disregard these days. I truly, and it's the first time I read this, this is what I truly think there is a decent possibility that this man abused Joseph Reagan as a child. Not saying he did, but this is concerning. He's known him since he was a 1.5 years old. I've known his dad since he was in diapers and his mother for several years. I watched Joe grow up, and as he grew, I babysat him when he was little, which, again, is kind of odd. I have been fishing with him, camping with him, to concerts with him, and on out-of-state trips with him. Now, obviously, this is not a immediate family member, so all that stuff is a little concerning. I photographed his baptizing. I was present at his wedding. I was present at his ordination. I've been in this. I mean, my God, this guy was with him nonstop. Like, it's like he was constantly around him. If not an immediate family member is nonstop, constantly wanting to be around your young child, red flags. Red flags. So, I mean, just hearing a grown man say these, like all of this, I'm like, Jesus, like, is there anything you missed? And how old is Joseph? I mean, I think he's at least my age. I may be wrong. But it's just kind of weird he calls him a young man. I'm telling you, this post is very concerning. I mean, I'm just being honest. It's very concerning. And then, hold on, because I responded. Yeah, that's exactly what I responded to Rebecca Wilson. You have no clue what this makes your husband now look like. Or look like, do you? Do you? Did you know many child predators was themselves abused as a child? So my first thought after reading your comment is, I wonder how many kids your husband has harmed. Is he the reason Reagan is a child predator? I think that's a pretty good question. But yeah, that was the most concerning comment I've seen. Like, I didn't know what to think about it. But I didn't figure I would be the only one that felt that way about that after reading it. Oh, this one. Yeah, this is a solid comment here. So this is Katie Kilgore. This is probably the craziest comment I've seen in regards to Reagan. Some of you guys are silly. You're ready to burn the town down while your husband sits home with his warrants and you're a proud rehab graduate, if you graduated from rehab as an addict, you should be proud, first off. And I hope you are, because it's a very awesome accomplishment. Ex-meth addict, all while you yourself was a parent. First off, I don't care if you if you currently have warrants, if you're currently a user. As long as you're not a child predator, you're a lot better than Joseph Reagan. And if you're a recovering addict, I have no problems with you. Or DHR has your kids. DHR should have Joseph Reagan's kids. That's the problem. Or you practicing witchcraft and dabbling in whatever else. She's not talking about you, Christy, is she? Worried about your children and who their coach is. Yes, you should be. While your husband is a coach with a criminal history, been arrested multiple times for drugs. Again, acting like anyone with a criminal history, as long as it's not being a child predator, I don't care how many times you've been arrested for drugs. I don't care how long your criminal history is. As long as you're not a child predator, you're 10,000 times better than Joseph Reagan. Most of the people causing this ruckus, to call this a ruckus is anyway, have criminal backgrounds. Well, I'll tell you what, if you've ever been arrested before, Katie does not like you, and she thinks you're scum of the earth, apparently, and thinks you're worse than a child predator. Not ideal parents trying to make the world a better place, just trying to hide your drama while causing it for someone else. To know this family is to love this family. Our children are growing up together. Katie, if you are letting your children be around Joseph Reagan, your kids need to be in DHR. I don't think anyone would disagree with me. They play ball together. This family goes out of their way to help everyone. Well, Joseph Reagan definitely goes out of his way to do things. The town has gotten so much better with him in office. I think the 20-plus messages I got in the last 24 hours would disagree with that. I stand behind my friends, and you are more than welcome to delete me. I don't need such outstanding citizens as friends anyway. Oh, so I think, is she taking the Brittany Stapleton route? If you're not from a completely perfect family, you have no business saying anything bad about somebody? You have no business calling out anybody? Which was so ironic in a lot of ways, but especially for Brittany, considering her father is in prison for murder. But this comment, some people are so ignorant. It's concerning. Like, if you know this girl, you need to distance yourself as far away from her as possible. And we're going to try to find out where she works, because I want, if she works. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if she's not all the things she's listed, and then I don't know. She's probably worse than the things she listed. She probably doesn't work. She probably sits at home on her tail all day and doesn't contribute to society at all, and then wants to sit around and act like anyone that's ever been arrested is the worst person ever. This first part of this just kills me. where your husband sits at home with his warrants and you're a proud rehab graduate, like that's a bad thing. like that's literally one of the best things ever that you should absolutely be proud of if you are. And she's acting like it's a bad, like you're a proud rehab graduate. Katie, I've got, it's been proven addicts can be recovered. Happens every day. It is literally the opposite of child predators who cannot be recovered at all. Let's see, that may be it. I don't think I read this one on Monday night, but we'll read it right quick again anyway. This happened years ago and has been processed and put to rest. Yes, inappropriate. No, far beyond inappropriate. But there was no physical relationship. And what if the other was of age? Shame on whoever felt the need to stir this up again and make all relive it. And shame for Facebook users jumping in with their ignorant. You can't make this up. This woman is calling people ignorant while she can't put a sentence together, literally. And shame for Facebook users jumping in with their ignorant of the facts, commentary, and judgment. I'm going to say there were some sour grapes involved, and someone was being vindictive. Yeah, that's what it was. And you all are taking their bait to be their pawns to bring hurt to someone. Before you play judge, jury, and God, get your facts straight and maybe even clean up your own back step. Shame on news outlets that think digging up an old story is journalism. There is plenty of new news. I don't guess I got the rest of it, but I think that's enough to know that, Jesus Christ, what a name. Twila? I guess it's Twila. I don't think I've ever seen Twila spelled like that. I don't know a lot of Twilas, though. And then Denise Hyatt Smith. Amen. Denise, I think you're in the wrong church. Are you at the ramp? It's a possibility. Now, Nick here knows what he's talking about. It shouldn't have been there to stare up, but go on and defend him. Imagine if it was your daughter. What worries me is I think a lot of these sympathizers, they probably wouldn't think it's a big deal if it was their daughter. That's what worries me. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. Some of these, if it was their daughter, they would blame it on their daughter. I guarantee you. Hold on, who's a nurse? People can live double lives. Yeah, like a very large portion of serial killers. You mean like them that had completely normal lives, that their immediate family, their wives and their kids had no idea that they were going out taking people's lives every day? Okay, I was wondering when I saw the ordination, Joe is a deacon. So we've got another church problem. Oh, this is getting so much worse. Oh, I guarantee you there are victims in this church. I mean, I'm telling you, there are victims in this church. Oh, Jesus. How many people have trusted their younger kids around him? He's a deacon. And okay, God, this is horrible. So Katie is a nurse. Well, I'm not saying we will get her fired, but if we do, it won't be the first nurse we've got fired. A nurse talking this way about former addicts, and this is horrible. Oh my God. So Katie is a nurse at Blunt Medical. Guess what, Katie? I think there's a really good chance I'm making a full podcast on you tomorrow. I'm betting your work won't like that much. Oh, absolutely. Nurses are mandatory reporters. All right, I got to go because I'm still on daddy duty tonight, and I got to get this little one to bed. But I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you enjoyed the live tonight. It wasn't as deep as it normally is, so that's good. But I hope y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday night. I will see y'all back Friday night, 9 p.m. Central Time, and we'll be back on all of the platforms. If you're not subscribed on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button right now and hit the notifications. Turn the notifications on. That way you'll be notified every time I drop a new podcast or go live on here. But I really appreciate each and every one of you. Again, we're doing big things, and there's a lot more to go, and I'm looking forward to it. But I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see y'all back Friday night. Welcome to Truth Recon. I'm Agent D. Baker, former narcotics detective, SWAT team member, and U.S. Navy combat veteran. With years of real-world experience in high-stakes environments, I've seen firsthand the dangers that lurk both in our communities and now increasingly online. Before this show begins, understand this. What you are about to hear may be disturbing to some audiences.